The country's capacity to enrich uranium has been increased without adding any new chains or centrifuges. The design information related to this has been submitted to the International Atomic Energy Agency.
This comes against the backdrop of increased tensions between the United States and Iran, and also the continuing unraveling of the nuclear deal that was signed back in 2015.
If Iran wants to fight, that will be the official end of Iran. Never threaten the United States again.
Iranians have stood tall for millennia, while aggressors all gone. Economic terrorism and genocidal taunts won't end Iran.
This follows days of increased tensions that were sparked by the American administration sending bombers and an aircraft carrier to the Persian Gulf. Now, they did this because of what they perceived were threats from the Iranian side. It comes as the Iranian president says he is open to holding crisis talks with international partners, but that Iran will not respond to any kind of threats, any kind of hostility, and any kind of attempts at coercion.
We welcome negotiations, but we do not negotiate with a party that behaves like a bully and takes a knife out of his pocket and forces us to hold talks. We do not hold such negotiations with anybody.
The American position has been clear for quite some time.
The leaders of Iran are racketeers.
The world's largest financier of international terrorism.
Behind every problem is Iran.
What we've been trying to do is to get Iran to behave like a normal nation.
The United States has been applying a maximum pressure campaign against Iran ever since the nuclear deal began to collapse last year, and at the same time it's been imposing crippling sanctions. Earlier this month, Iran did warn that it would begin enriching uranium to higher levels if the remaining signatories did not manage to offset or in some kind of way protect it against the American measures. Now, the Europeans have been trying to do this, but it's far from clear whether or not they'll succeed. Washington claims that Iran is looking to develop nuclear weapons, and this is a claim that Iran has consistently denied. At the same time, the nuclear watchdog, the International Atomic Energy Agency, has never found Iran in contravention of any kind of stipulations in the deal. What we're seeing happen is an increase from the Iranian side in production by some 3.67% of enriched uranium. A spokesperson for the Iranian Nuclear Agency has said that this does not mean that Iran will increase the number of centrifuges in use, which is one of the stipulations in the nuclear deal. But however, we could see that within weeks, Iran will reach the 300-kilogram limit, and this is a stipulation in the deal. So ultimately, what could happen is that Iran could soon go beyond the stockpile limitations which are specified in the nuclear deal. Now, publicly, both Iran and the United States say that they don't want to go to war with the other side. But the big concern is that any kind of miscalculation at this particularly precarious time could see the whole situation going out of control.
Meantime, US President Donald Trump says he's ready to negotiate with Tehran, but only when they're ready. Trump also once again warned Iran against making what he called provocative actions or threats.
We have no indication that anything's happened or will happen, but if it does, it will be met, obviously, with great force. We'll have no choice. We'll see what happens. If they called, we would certainly negotiate, but that's going to be up to them. I'd only want them to call if they're ready.
We are in a pre-crisis situation right now, and a lot depends on the political will and the determination of the Europeans to join Russia and China, the other signatories to the party, in order to preempt this from getting into a full-blown crisis. This is a very critical situation that we are at the crossroad, basically, of peace and war. You got a rogue president in the White House and surrounded by these uber hawks that thirst for another war with Iran, and they're allied with Saudi Arabia and Israel, Iran's rivals, that may instigate a false flag, a planted accident, and so forth in order to lure Mr. Trump to war with Iran, despite his stated intention of limiting himself to economic warfare, which is really as bad as war itself.